Hello there, welcome to day 18 of An Old Man on the Pennine Way again. I'm here at Caulfield's quarry. Behind me, if you can see the edge of the face of the quarry with a peak in it, the Roman wall went straight over that peak, so they just quarried the whole lot away. But they're in good company because a number of people have done similar things and destroyed the wall. I'm going along the wall for 4 odd miles to just before Housteds. I think it's called Caw Gap, and then heading up towards Bellingham. I've stopped here because there's quite a good view of the Vallum from here. So we've got the Roman wall is on top of that crag, just on the other side, about 10 metres away from this edge. That's the Vallum. And it's a double Vallum here, double ditch and complex. The white car in the distance there, that's going down the military road, which is as straight as a die and obviously Roman, except it had nothing to do with the Romans whatsoever. The Roman road is up over the ridge there, past those trees on the skyline, and that was called the Stain Gate. The Romans didn't call it that. That's a Middle English or Norse name, I think. When the Romans came up here and went into Scotland and then withdrew, they used the Stain Gate as the border, and they built forts every 14 miles, probably Roman miles. So the nearest here is underneath that hill at the far end there, and that's Vindlanda down there. So that's one of the Stain Gate forts, nothing to do with the wall because they were 60 years before the wall was built. So they put a line of forts every 14 miles along there, and eventually they decided that this was going to be the border for a while, so they put intermediate forts in every 7 miles. 14 miles was the amount a Roman soldier would expect to march in a day. So they put intermediate forts in every 7 miles. And the Stain Gate is over the top of that hill, but it's a strange Roman road because it's quite windy. So within a mile of each other, you've got a very windy Roman road and an incredibly straight British road. The military road was actually built in about 1746-7, just after the Jacobite risings. Charles Stuart was in Carlisle. The English soldiers were all in Newcastle, and there was no easy way to get across to them. So after Charles Stuart had been defeated at Culloden, Wade decided he would build a road right across here, and from Newcastle to Sowing Shields, which is 8 or 9 miles down the road here. He knocked down the Roman wall, used the foundations of the Roman wall as the foundations for his road. So if you go along the military road there, you'll find that the Roman ditch for the wall is on one side, the Vallum is on the other, and there's no sign of the wall at all because Wade knocked it all down to build his road. Here he didn't want his soldiers going up and down these cliffs or hills, so he moved his road to where those vehicles are at the moment. So the wall here is only saved because Wade couldn't build his road up there. He had to build it there, and he wasn't able to knock the wall down to use the materials. I just realised that I missed out a road in all that description I've just done. So between the Vallum and the Roman wall, there was what they called their military road, and it was to get supplies and men along to any part of the wall as rapidly as possible. So probably somewhere where I'm walking now, and you can see it when in a dry summer when the grass gets parched above it, and it's very clear. Sorry, I missed that out of my description. That's the Twice Brewed pub is the White Place, and to the left of that, hidden by trees and actually quite well disguised from up here, is the new place called the Sill, which also has Once Brewed Youth Hostel included within it, because that's the site of the Once Brewed Youth Hostel where Ian and I stayed when we were here. If you remember, I said I was ill all the day from Alston. We walked from Alston to here when I was ill. The last 2 miles along the dead straight military road, and arrived at that youth hostel. Used to be a chap called Mac in charge of it, who had he was disabled with a bad leg, so he used a crutch all the time, but that didn't stop him doing anything around the youth hostel. He was a good guy. So from the youth hostel you then walk up that road and across to there. Oh, it's clearing now. When I started talking you couldn't see anything, so that's Crag Luff there. And in front of me here you can actually see quite well. This is the modern wall. It's not the Roman wall, but you can see in front of it the ditch in front of where the Roman wall would have been. Sounds a bit like Bully. Just look at the Roman wall you could have seen. So I carry on past Crag Luff, I think, and then turn off left across into that misty area there. Vindolanda is in front of that fold in the ground there. You can never quite see it from here. You can see the Roman wall from Vindolanda, but you rarely see Vindolanda from the Roman wall. I think this is Milecastle 40. They're all built to a standard thing, but this one has all the internal walls still there, so you can see some sort of courtyard with 3 barrack buildings on each side of it. In the wall itself there was always a gate. There's quite a nice arched gate later on. They were built to a formula. They were exactly a mile apart in the early days. They did get less regimented, but if that meant that that door ended up over a 60-foot sheer cliff, that didn't matter. They still put the Milecastle there, and they still put the door in it. I think originally these doors were to enable soldiers to go behind the wall, or the other side of the wall. I think the Romans discovered 2,000 years ago something that Donald Trump has never understood, and that a wall is only any good as long as you defend it, usually with men. So they would have people going along the top of the wall, but any attack on the wall would also be met by probably cavalry going out into that area in front of the wall to try and get behind the people that were attacking. So it was a sort of a defence in depth. It wasn't just standing on a wall. They would actually patrol the area in front of the wall. Okay, we go down here and then up to Sycamore Gap, I think, next. Hi there.
There's me thinking it was going to be all lovely and flat.
Anything but, isn't it?
No. Do you know when we go back, we're parked at the Sill, do you just have to walk back the way we came?
There's a path down there that goes in front of all this lot.
Right.
Goes that side of it.
So when we get as far as we want, you can like walk down and along the bottom.
I don't know how far it goes, but I know from there I've walked back from there.
Right. We want to try and get about another hour and a half before we turn round.
You get the house deads and back then, won't you?
Well, hopefully.
Okay, so this is Sycamore Gap, famed from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Presumably just before Kevin Costner took his clothes off at Hardrow Force, this was. I've got loads of photos of Sycamore Gap. I was just looking. That circle in front of Sycamore Gap, in front of the tree, that used to be a sort of circular wall. They've taken it away. Anyway, yeah, I've got loads of photos of Sycamore Gap. I come up here every year taking photos of it, but I've never seen it with the leaves on, because we always come in April, March, April time. I've never seen it with the leaves on. There are 3 photos that I took in 1967. I couldn't find the exact places I took them from in those days, because I think the area's been altered. I think the wall's been re-excavated. The first was me in front of Cragluff. The second is Ian, a bit closer to the cliffs, almost on top of the cliffs. And the third shows the footpath going along the top of the wall. This was changed many years ago, so that now you're not allowed to walk along the wall anymore, whereas before it was actually the footpath. I'm at Rappershaw Gap now. Finished going along the wall, thank goodness. It's taken me a lot longer than I wanted it to. It's been very hot, very sticky and sweaty. So I'm now heading off across to the forests over there. I left the wall, which is that far line of hills there, come across the intervening bit, and I'm into the forest now. It's very strange how your memory plays tricks with you, because for large parts of the walk I've done this last 3 weeks, I haven't remembered bits of it. But here, I've got a vivid recollection of back there. I'd had a yellow mug and I forgot to pack it in my rucksack, so I just looped under one of the straps and it kept banging. And by the time I got down there, I was so annoyed with it, I had to stop, unpack everything and pack the rucksack again. I can't remember much else that day, but I can vividly remember repacking my mug. So it's strange how your memory plays tricks with you. Just ploughing on through this forest now. I just entered the forest again through the gate here. Been walking across open moorland for 3/4 of an hour. This is quite strange, because I can remember entering this forest last time 50 odd years ago, and this was all mature trees, so it's obviously been clear felled, because you can see all the stumps, and replanted. That's really weird. Makes you realise how old you are. I don't know whether right in the distance that might be the Cheviots. It must be. Okay, I'm at Lady Hill. I got here a lot earlier than I was expecting to, so I've arranged with Roz to pick me up at the next major road. But just while I was having lunch here, I saw I was sitting by about 15 or 20 orchids. Gorgeous. Right, off we go. I think we're not too far away from Lead Hall, where Roz is picking me up. But this was in the way. It's the walk burn, so I'm having to go right down to the bottom and then right up the other side again, which I hadn't quite planned. Didn't look at the map carefully enough. Okay. Okay, this is Leadgate. That's the end of the journey from Caulfields. Thanks very much for watching, and see you again. Bye.